We're Compagnia de Colombari. I'm Karin Coonrod, and I'm the director and the conceiver of this piece, and we are really thrilled to be able to bring this to this format. And this is Kyle.
I'm Kyle Sanna. And I'm one of the composers of the music of this piece. So this is a work of theater that involves 4 or more musicians, and the musicians, most of them are also composers of different sections. So I'm one of them.
Well, maybe first of all, I could just start by saying thank you for taking this journey with us. And maybe we could start a little bit by talking about the journey of this piece, More or Less I Am, and the life that it's had up to this point.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, this is a piece that's all drawn from Whitman's Song of Myself, which he wrote when he was 36 years old in 1855. And there are many resonances now, and especially in this moment when we're stopped, to really bring this right into our time. We first started working on this in 2008. And Kyle and the other 3 composers, Colin Jacobson, Eric Jacobson, and Alex Saab, came together with 4 actors and me, and we worked through all the passages. We had excised, we didn't want to do the entire poem. So we had already come to the table with some of the passages excised so that we could really get to the most important ones. And Kyle, maybe you want to talk a little bit about the musical aspect to it and how we approached that.
Sure. We had a workshop period where Karin would have chosen sections of the poem. It's quite a long poem that we wanted to focus on. And between us 4 musician composers, we looked at which sections might benefit from having either incidental music or having the poem be set to song or set in some kind of rhythmic way, and which passages might actually be strongest without music. And then we sort of, amongst us 4, divided up the roles, and if someone had a strong feeling for how to set a certain passage, they would work on it there during the workshop, or go home, come back with some written out ideas that we would all try with the actors, refining it into the performance that we have now.
I think of sorry, go ahead, Karin.
Oh no, just that what we had about an hour's worth. The performance is typically an hour, and what we've done for this particular journey is to take the pieces that we can really, the pith of it, plus expanding it by bringing into this format people who've been involved in the past and people who will be involved in the future. So we're getting people from all around the globe to be able to participate in this. I just had a dream in the middle of the night that we should get some of our prisoners from Padua, where we had done The Merchant of Venice, to be involved in speaking some, because I bet in Italian prisons, we can get in there, and that would be amazing. So I'm going to try to do that.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
I've always thought of Compagnia de Colombari as a company that has an extraordinary sense of place. You have a history of doing, I guess, site-specific performances, for lack of a better term. This piece, I believe, has been done on the steps of Grant's tomb. Is that right?
Yeah.
In the past. So I guess my question is, how have you adapted to this, what could be considered a lack of place, but also can be considered a new place online or on a screen?
Yeah, that is really blowing us our minds. I mean, it's really exciting, actually, because more and more ideas are coming. For instance, yesterday, I've asked quite a few people to do This Is the City, and I am one of the citizens. And yesterday, very sweetly, Paul Spera and Francesca Saratoich, who were both in Merchant of Venice, and their little child, and who happens to be Ruth Bader Ginsburg's great grandchild, um, they were at the moment of the clapping in Paris, you know, at 7 o'clock, that moment of the clapping. Voici la ville. And then he said, merci, bravo les médecins. So I thought, oh my God, we're going to get, you know, Linda Powell is in DC and Ned Eisenberg is in New York, and we could get, you know, this kind of cosmic, I mean, Whitman is nothing if not cosmic. For every atom belonging to me, as good belongs to you. So how do we get inside of that in this format and not drive Paul Lieber, who is our filmmaker, crazy?
Mm.
or maybe drive him crazy. Either way.
Or drive him crazy, actually. Yes.
Yeah, I think that this you know, limitation, which is that we can't all be in the same place performing this live in front of an audience, has also created new possibilities. And Karin seized on those immediately and started sending us all emails with ideas and ideas. And I think one of the beautiful things is involving people who wouldn't normally be able to be there. So over the years, we've had multiple iterations of this piece. And there have actually been, there's like a larger Whitman Colombari family that not everyone has been able to participate. It involves also people of different generations and people who have now moved from, you know, the New York City area to different parts of the States or different countries, parts of the world. And now we're able to include those people, some of them. And additionally, not all of the original musicians were able to perform at Arts and Ideas. We were going to have some subs, and there have been actually, you know, a few additional musicians that have come in to the fold over the years. And so now we're able to include the original people, the original ensemble, and some of these other people. And I think that's a beautiful response to this limitation.
So this limitation has brought about a reunion of sorts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, I just before getting on here, I saw Saurabh Wadhya, who's Shylock #1 in The Merchant of Venice. He's in Bombay on lockdown. Everyone's on lockdown. And that's where, you know, it's a very a Whitmanic moment because we're all together in this. And he went on his balcony and said, "This is the city, Bombay." And I am one of the citizens. So, you know, it'll be really fun to witness it, actually. And I keep thinking I got up in the middle of the night thinking, oh my gosh, we have to get a couple of prisoners from Padova, who were some of our, you know, how in The Merchant of Venice, we had people who from the audience were involved in solidarity against Shylock #5. Well, some of those were participating, and I think that would be very, very cool. So to go on the inside and bring them out, you know, because we're all citizens. I think that's what Whitman was getting at, was that the new world gives us the possibility of showing what it is to be citizens of the new world and not docile and not you know, having to be accountable to any old idea, but rather really be the kings and queens that we were all meant to be. And he was so charged up by that in a time that was extremely polarized, as we know, you know, just the Civil War happened just a few years later. And now with, not only are we polarized, but we're also stopped, the whole world. You know, it's extraordinary.
So what do you think a reading of Song of Myself or a re-examination of it in this current time, what can we learn from it that might be different through a new lens, through the lens of our own time? What would you say is the singular thing that could be learned here, if there is such a thing?
Well, you know, we can only learn as we are learning ourselves and then share that secret. So, you know, the way we've divided it up, which is just what made sense to me, I was just kind of going with impulses, is journey, with the invitation to the journey, the city and the citizens, nature and democracy, and then the last part is gratitude. So the piece that is a standout for all of us, I mean, there's so many things we're not going to do in this, but I think landing with gratitude is, if we can get to that place and share that, that's very deep.
That's great. And certainly gratitude is hopefully on all of our minds now. I think gratitude for people who are keeping us safe and fed and all those things in this time. That's a great
Absolutely.
word to end with.
Absolutely.
How
and Whitman himself was a nurse.
Mm.
He helped in the Civil War.
Really? Yeah.
Oh, he tended to so many men, and wrote letters to their mothers when they died in his arms. That was, of course, in 1864, and he wrote this in 1855. But we also love this primal, because he kept redoing this poem and did it even the deathbed version in 1872, whenever that was. But we love this first. I'm a big fan of first impulses and what breaks out on the scene. And I think he never improved it. I think it was always just this response, you know, and then later he was a nurse, and amazing.
Thank you, Karin and Kyle, for joining us. That's your first taste of More or Less I Am. The full video will be out on our website, and there will be different versions of it released in a serialized way over the next few weeks. So thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby.